You better say your prayers, you flea-bitten varmint. I'm gonna blow you to smithereens.
You do that and I'll kill you.
Alrighty, metalheads. Welcome to another show of Bullshitting with Bob right here on Brutiful Metal Radio. Tonight, I've got Darren and Ray from Korotory. Welcome to the show, guys.
What's up? Glad to be here.
No, we spoke before the show, and you said you're getting pounded by rain over in New York. Yeah,
a little rainy.
It's rainy here in Louisiana as well, man. It's like backstroking to go to the store, you know?
Right.
Now, you guys are getting ready to release a new album.
Right.
And we've got a few cuts off of that album we're going to play tonight. And what was the process like in recording? Did it go pretty easy for you?
It was probably the smoothest album we've ever recorded. It took forever, but smoothest. Right. But the main reason it took forever is because it's the first album that we did that we didn't walk in and have songs ready to go. We had a few that some of the new guys that we have in the band had, but for the most part, it was a rewrite, reorganize, and put new lyrics to those, and then write new songs from riffs that maybe were laying around or had just come as we were doing the record. Basically, learn as you record. Right. So, but it was a very relaxing experience. There was no time restraints. We took our time, wrote songs that we thought were the best that they could be, and not just, let's repeat our last record and just change some stuff. We wanted to really evolve with this record, and I think that's going to be our main focus from this point forward is to evolve as much as we can with each record. We've always had a specific kind of vibe, which was a heavy groove vibe that we'll never lose. It'll always be heavy, it'll always have a groove, but we want to experiment a little bit more than maybe we have in the past. And I think the guys that we have with us now give us the ability to do such.
Right on. Oh, go ahead.
Best lineup ever.
Now, you guys actually started up in '95, correct?
Yes. Yes, we did.
And what led to the formation of Korotory?
Well, I guess I'll start off with that one. Back in summer of '95, there's an old club around here in Long Island called the Roxy Music Hall, and legendary metal band by the name of Death was playing.
Ooh,
and,
yes.
I decided to go to the show, and I think we saw that Gene Hogan was outside. We were talking to him, and Darren happened to be talking to him also. So after he left and went to do sound check, me and him started talking, and he was like, "Oh, I'm a drummer." I'm like, "Oh, I'm a singer." So I guess the rest is history after that, right? Yeah, pretty much.
Now, what does Korotory mean? How did you derive the name?
I would like to say that it means something all smart and intricate, but it doesn't. Our old guitar player, who was with us from the beginning, who just left to be with his family, he knew a guy when he was growing up whose last name was, I think, Korotory with a C, and he always said, "Oh, let's change it to a K, and it's, we'll change the I to a Y, and that name will sound cool." And we ended up doing it, and when you know it, it's stuck, and it's 18 years later.
Hell yeah. It is a cool sounding name.
Yeah, it fits,
and it just rolls off the tongue, Yeah. Now, I'm real familiar with your last album, Godless America, and Age of Rebellion. Both albums, sick as hell, guys. Really, really awesome thrash.
Thank you, brother.
And I wanted to ask you, how did you develop your style of thrash?
It's a culmination of, I guess, our influences plus what really makes us tick. groove is what kills you. I mean, it's what makes you want to just punch somebody in the skull repeatedly. I mean, that's the effect that Pantera and Exhorder and bands like that, Meshuggah, all that groove is what really makes you want to pummel someone in the face. Yeah, speed is great, and you can do that all day, but you're going to get worn out on it. But
right.
You can never wear out a groove. You can never wear it. And it's the point when you can get the most heavy. You know, you can't do 400 beats a minute and be heavy, you know, but you could do, you know, 80 beats per minute or 100 beats a minute and smack someone in the skull with it. And I think that's been our main thing. I mean, we love speed and we love all the aggression in that and blast beats and technical stuff, but that groove is what will set you into some kind of other plateau that is just phenomenal. So it's just a culmination of having those groove influences, you know, even like going back old school, like death metal stuff. I mean, if you look like Obituary, they weren't a grindy band, but they had that nasty groove, and that's what made them sick as hell.
You know, and I have to agree 100% with you on that one, man, because I'm a huge fan of Exhorder, you know, especially being from here. I got to see them at very small clubs back in the early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Extremely small clubs, and what set them apart was that groove. And even, you know, if you go back, like Slayer, you know, they be doing some fast-ass riff,
oh, yeah.
but you've got, you know, 2/4 or 4/4, you know, time going in the background, and it just makes you want to just punch somebody in the eye, you know?
I mean, yeah, I look at something like, especially with Slayer, I mean, everyone is always like, you know, Angel of Death, Rain and Blood, great, awesome. But what about something like Mandatory Suicide, man? That riff will kick you in the teeth for days.
Yeah.
That groove, you know? And that's what I'm saying. I mean, that groove, a groove done properly is the most hypnotic and destructive thing any band can do. You know? Even if you go and look at rock music, look at AC/DC. That's all they do is groove.
Mm-hmm.
Case closed. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Case closed.
Well, you know, with groove, and maybe, you know, some bands miss this, is that's what really makes your head bob. It pulls you in, you know, it pulls you in and makes you pay attention, and then before you know it, you're in the fucking pit, and you're kicking ass, or you're getting your ass kicked, and having a great time.
Right.
But
If you got the audience.
Exactly. I got my wife over here moving my stuff around on me. Woman, I'm about to whip your ass. You got to talk nice to ladies, you know.
He's such a sweet talker.
I am a sweet talker.
I love you too, babe.
That's right. You damn well should. Yeah, we're just one big Brutiful family over here.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Darren, talk to me a little bit about some of your influences and what made you want to be a metal drummer.
Believe it or not, most of my influences are guys from the 70s and 80s. You know, that's what made me. The first concert I ever went to, which was a show my parents took me to when I was like 9. They took me to see Whitesnake.
Oh, wow.
And Tommy Aldridge is the sickest drummer to this day. Okay? And when I went back after seeing him at this show, he did this amazing solo. And I went back, and I found out he played with Ozzy. And then I found out he played with Black Oak, Arkansas. Forget about it. I was in. Everything, I mean, the way he incorporates, you know, 16th notes. Back in the 70s, they usually like 16th notes on the ride with these intricate double kick patterns. I was floored. You know, and obviously John Bonham is Jesus Christ to me. He is my Lord and Savior as far as drumming goes. And then, you know, guys like Cozy Powell and Ian Pace, and, you know, I grew up, you know, my dad and my brother really got me into those guys, you know, as I was forming. Obviously, you know, I was in like 88 is when I started playing, 89, like that. So obviously some of the more, I guess, hard rock drummers at the time, Tommy Lee, Bobby Blotzer, some of those guys were formative to me. And then, you know, you hear your first Metallica song, and it's like, wait a second, you mean you can actually get faster? And then it starts from there. So you go Mars to Charlie to Dave, and then you go, wait, who's this Motorhead band? And you get to hear, you know, Filthy Taylor, and you're like, what's this? You know, so all those guys kind of formed who I am. I guess today, some of the more modern players, I guess like Gene Hoglan, who a lot of people say I get a lot of my feeling from, and Vinnie Paul, obviously, I'm probably the biggest Pantera fan in the world, and Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater, Nick Barker, who used to play with Jimmy Borgir, those kind of guys, Pete Sandoval from Morbid Angel, and Mike Smith from Suffocation. Those guys kind of are really the guys who really get me going. I mean, there's a lot of those speedy tech guys like John Longstreth, who I dig them, and they're great, and I think they're phenomenal that they can hit those speeds, but I'm not really that kind of a speedy guy.
Right.
So, as much as I love those guys, I'm more of like a, you know, hit them hard kind of, you know, speed when I need it kind of guy. So, yeah, I guess today, I would say Gene Hoglan is probably him and Sean Reiner from Cynic are probably my two biggest influences, and have been, I guess, for the last, 10 years or so.
Gene Hoglan, man, he is just a beast on the kit.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I mean,
he does so much, too. I mean, Strapping Young Lad, Death Clock.
Every Testament.
Yeah, the list goes on. Death. I mean,
yeah.
His resume is like a who's who, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's many bands he hasn't played with. I mean, he did a tour with Unearth. I mean, he's played with Opeth. I mean, he's so versatile. And you have to look at a guy like that and recognize that he is that great of a player, you know?
And myself, I'm a huge Nick Barker fan.
Love Nick Barker.
I liked what he did with, Cradle of Filth when he was with them. I love what he did with Demu.
Oh, yeah.
The guy does, his feet are just amazing. But his handwork, he does these rolls that, I don't know, they're just go on forever.
Yeah, no, he's another one of those guys, like I said, that he's just, his playing, and he can adapt to so many things. I mean, he's really known for being this black metal powerhouse, or doing that grind stuff that he does with Lock Up. But, a lot of people don't realize that he was an Exodus for a while. He filled in for Tom Hunting for a good while.
Yeah, he did.
And he was almost in that band full time, but Tom decided to come back. So he's such a versatile, great heavy metal drummer, and he's such a nice guy, and he's such a thrash fan. I mean, you want to ask someone a question about thrash, he's the guy to ask, because he gets so into it. I had a chance to talk to him a few times, and he's just such a nice guy and just so down to earth. He's a cool dude, man. Totally cool.
Now, you had mentioned John Bonham, and John Bonham, he is one of those was one of those drummers that knew where to lay back.
Oh, yeah.
And you cannot put a price on that. I mean, so many guys, I'm sure you've seen it in your career, they just overdo it. They think the whole song should be a drum solo.
Right.
But Bonham, he knew what to put where, and when to lay back and let the music, I guess, ferment, let it jive,
Right, yeah.
And I don't know, in today's music, I really haven't heard that too much. I don't know, maybe that's something that people need to research a little more, is the Bonham style, just to know where to put what and lay back and let the music just kind of gel a little bit,
Well, I 100% agree with that. I think a lot of today's standards in metal, especially, have become almost sport-like, where it's how many notes or how many parts or how many this or how many that we can fill into a song to make us the most extreme something, and it's just what happened to the song?
Exactly.
Not, we're in the middle of playing, a game of, hockey back and forth. It's with the song, so, I don't know. I mean, I understand a lot of of young kids are enthused and they want to put as many notes in. And I guess as they get older, they'll realize that, you know, it's not necessary to put 241 notes into a bar of 4. You know, 4
Well,
to 5.
you know, and you mentioned Mike from Suffocation, who is an outstanding drummer.
Yeah, he is probably the got the loudest blast beat you'll ever hear. I mean, we're fortunate enough to be from Long Island, where they're from, so obviously we get to see them a lot, and we recorded our first 2 records at the studio that they record all their records at.
Oh, wow.
With their producer, Joe Sincata. Joe Sincata is by far one of the best producers you can ever work with, and he's such a good dude, and he really helped us out a lot on those 2 records. And he would tell us, well, you know, because he went on tour with them for 8 or 9 years.
Oh, wow.
And told them, without microphones, that dude is that loud. You know, he does not, you know, a lot of drummers rely on their triggers, you know, to get that loud, you know, whatever. Mike really could hit that hard. You know, so that's really a test to hit that hard and that fast. That's a testament to how amazing that dude is as a drummer, you know. And even their Suffocation's new drummer, Dave Koros, who, again, another guy who floors me. I mean, the work he did with Malevolent Creation to this day is still some of my favorite work ever done, period. But he's another guy who can beat the crap out of a drum kit and really make it count. You know, there's not no fluff with him. You know, it's not smoke and mirrors. It's the real deal. So
Now,
it's pretty remarkable.
when Suffocation first came out, Mike was a huge influence on a lot of drummers in the death metal scene. Everybody wanted to play like Mike. They wanted to do the 1,000-mile-an-hour blast beats, and you know, you had that clone syndrome almost happening for the longest time. And finally, you know, I don't know, within the last 5 years, I've noticed that death metal is going back to almost how, in ways, how it was in the beginning, with a lot more groove-oriented riffs.
There's a lot of slam going on.
Yeah, I've got a friend of mine's band from here called Suture, and they were kind of big in the underground, and they released an album a couple years ago called Spiritual Vortex.
Right.
And when they first came out, which was I think in '97, I think they released their first demo. I mean, it was carbon copy almost of Suffocation. I mean, just fast as can be, 1,000-mile-an-hour, you know, billion notes. And when Spiritual Vortex came out, they, you know, gaining that groove, and it was nice hearing that, you know, because it's maturing.
Right.
And I don't know, like you said, a lot of these young guys coming out nowadays, I think they just need to. It'll get there. They just got to get a little older and a little maturity and realize you don't have to play 1,000 notes to impress anybody. Write a damn good song.
Right. That's the key is the song. You know, there's a lot of great bands coming out who have so much ability, and I would love to see more bands just focus on the mixing of what they have talent-wise, as far as many notes as they can play, but structure it in such a way where it's not all over the place. You know, you have this intense riffing back and forth, and then you throw sections of that in there, you know, and intertwine it with what you do.
Now,
So,
go ahead.
No, you know.
Okay, Ray, let me ask you, what were some of your early influences that made you want to be a metal vocalist or a thrash vocalist?
Well, I guess like him, you know, growing up in the early 80s, it was more, you know, hard rock at the time. You know, still am a big fan of the hair bands. One of my favorite bands was Rat. And, you know, Stephen Pearcy, obviously. And, because, you know, he had a raspy voice, too, so kind of an influence in, you know, where I am now. But, you know, obviously I don't sing beautifully. You know, I'm not going to make girls cry. But, you know, the dawn of the 90s, and, you know, we had a lot of those bands coming out, like death metal scene, you know, with the Growls, and then Pantera, of course, that gave that a try, and I found out I had a talent for that, and I went with that, and I'd say that right now, probably Dylan Salmo, of course. I guess I get compared to him all the time. And Chuck Billy, a Testament, of course, and probably Jeff Kidman from Meshuggah.
Right on.
But was a big fan of his when I first heard them come out in like '95, right when we started, and yeah, like those three, probably I trust me now. Kind of put them all in a blender and try to pick from each one at times.
Well, you can never go wrong with Chuck Billy. I mean, that dude is incredible.
Oh no, he's he does everything. He growls, he screams, and he sings beautifully. I couldn't quite nail that, but I'm working on it. But yeah, Testament's amazing. Definitely a big influence on this band as a whole.
I was surprised when Testament did The Gathering and what was the one right before that?
Demonic?
Yes, Demonic. When I bought that album, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to be listening to Testament. And it was so fucking heavy, and he was doing that low growl.
Yeah, he pretty much growled the whole album.
I mean, it made my hair stand up. It was awesome. I got goosebumps and everything.
Not a lot of people bring up that album in conversations that much.
It's a shame, because I thought it was a great album.
Oh, it definitely was. And I believe Gene Hogan was on that album, wasn't he? Yes, he was.
I believe so. Now, I wasn't a fan of Testament from the Legacy on up, and I was in the Army at the time, stationed over in Germany when Demonic came out, and I actually bought it at the little PX we had on post. And like I said, man, it took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that. And I just bought me a new stereo. I just got into Germany, matter of fact, and I just bought me a new stereo, brought it to my room, and I popped that CD in, and starts off with the countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6, 6. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. And cranked it wide open. Of course, I got in trouble for that, but I still think it's one of my favorite Testament albums to this day.
Yeah, it's definitely a classic.
Now, are there any bands that you guys listen to currently?
Like new bands?
Yeah.
Of the newer bands, there's a band called The Heart Machine that I'm getting into, that I've gotten into recently. They're kind of like a proggy death metal band, and I think they're phenomenal. I really think they're going to be a band that really, if they keep where they're going and they really evolve, I think they could be a force in the progressive metal field, like the extreme progressive metal field. I think they have a lot. I'm kind of old school with a lot of stuff. I mean, there are some newer bands that I dig. I mean, I love the Acacia Strain. Believe it or not, I think they're really great. I just think their heaviness and their balls. Whitechapel's cool. Yeah, I dig stuff like that. But I'm so old school. I mean, I guess call me old, but I dig my old school stuff. I mean, I love all I think the New Testament album was probably one of the best albums of the year.
I'll tell you one to watch out for. I know you guys are familiar with Zetro, right?
Oh, Hatred is great.
Oh, you've heard it.
Oh, I love Hatred. Come on, like I said, I'm old school.
Now, they're dropping the album on the 25th of this month. And I got to interview Zetro a few months back. And the dude is so cool. I mean, he's like, me, you guys, he's just an old metalhead,
Right.
And he's all about, the metal lifestyle. And I talked to him, and we got the demo stuff from him, and we play it quite regularly here on Brutiful Metal Radio. Love it. I love it. I think it's like the next step after Exodus. And
yeah,
it really surprised me that he's got his kids playing on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the drummer, that's his son. Well, let's see, the drummer and the bass player are his sons. The drummer is an 18-year-old.
Right, yeah.
And the dude is smoking.
Yeah, killer, right?
Whew.
Killer stuff. I guess it, when you're growing up like that, and your dad is one of the most legendary bands, you kind of gets wears off on you a little bit, right?
It should, yeah.
It should. I know. It's a little bit different of a comparison, but the drummer from Violence, who, by the way, is one of our hugest influences. Yeah, we didn't get to them. We got to touch on them a little bit. But the drummer from Violence, Perry, I know his son is a big deal, like cellist or something, or the violinist, which shows you that influence of having a parent that's a musician really is a big deal. So I see where Zetro's kids, would turn out to be these mega thrash, like newcomers, and I'm psyched for that. I want to see more of these guys from back in the day have their kids just playing these like tunes, because it just seems right, Because you see like some other bands, like like more popular bands, their kids grow up and they do like the pop thing or whatever. But I really want to see some more thrasher kids come out, and really tear it up, and really give meaning to the new wave of thrash metal,
Now, when I spoke to Zet, he told me that he was harder on his kids than he were anybody else because he made his kids audition.
I would imagine, right?
Because he was totally professional about it. He said they had to audition just like anybody else, and in fact, I was harder on them because they were my kids. They're not going to get a free ride.
Right.
And I'm like, that's you got to be a damn proud papa for that, But I totally agree. I would love to see more of the children of the old school thrashers come out and go underground and make underground music.
Yeah. It's just something about that just seems so killer, Just to see.
It's like he's passing the torch along.
Right, yeah. It's just there's something about that just seems like it's perfect,
Let's see. Now, talk to me a little bit about how's the scene in New York right now? Is there still lots of places to play? Is there still a lot of people that go to shows?
I guess it's about the same everywhere, I guess, around now. Maybe certain cities are a little bit different. Obviously for us, the New York City market is a little bit bigger and stronger than, say, the suburbs out here because more bands want to go and play, the number one market as opposed to the cousin of the number one market. Bands still come through here, though. We have Testament coming through here in a month, and we have a pretty nice theater out here, and we have some really decent clubs out here. Hatebreed's coming out here with I guess Dying Fetus and everybody, and we have a really good scene. It gets a little cliquey from time to time, but that happens.
Yeah, it does.
You just got to really, 18 years, you see a lot of stuff. You see scenes die, you see scenes come back to life, you see new scenes be born in all genres. And, we're at that point now where it's good, but, with the whole technology thing and people not really wanting to leave their house, they, it's going to be on YouTube tomorrow, so why am I going to pay the $11 to go see that band play a show at this club down the block,
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is, and you kind of just roll with it, and you hope that you're making a good enough product that people who do go see it will tell their friends, look, you don't understand that YouTube's not going to make sense to you when you see this band. On YouTube they're one thing, but live they're going to hit you in the fucking jaw. So you just kind of got to hope that with the right promotion and the right attitude and just that fire and that you're kicking ass, that enough people will start just coming out and doing the right thing and supporting the bands. We've always tried to support everybody. The last couple of years have been weird for us. I have a son who's 3 now, and I've dedicate a lot of time to him and my family and having to work and stuff. But when we have time to go to shows, we do, and you know. But the scene in general, it's strong, but not as strong as we feel it could or should be. No, it's not. So we're hoping that you know, and we're not saying we're going to be the saviors of the scene, but we're hoping that with this new album coming out, us you know, finally being present on the scene again after taking such a long break, maybe that'll help. And we're very go ahead and promote everybody. You know, we don't just promote, hey, Korotory, everything. We'll promote everybody, and we'll take everybody on the ride with us. And now we're hoping that this year will be our biggest year yet, and we can take all our friends from all our favorite local bands, and even bands maybe we don't know about, and bring them along for the ride with us. You know, and help them build their scene for their band. You know, and hopefully it comes around tenfold, and we can all together rise and make this scene what it should be. So that's the hope, at least. You know, but like, yeah, to answer your question, it's okay. It seems okay.
Now, Vixen wanted me to ask you a question. She wants to know what it was like sharing the stage with Warbringer and Lazarus A.D. a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was cool, right? Personally, I'm a much bigger Lazarus fan than Warbringer. I love both bands a lot, but to me, Lazarus AD was one of the best new bands to come out into the scene, and to actually share the stage with them was pretty awesome. Some of the nicest dudes we have ever come across, I think in the 18 years we've been a band. Some of the nicest dudes. I mean, the dudes in Warbringer were killer. We got to talk to John, the singer. He was great. The show itself was awesome. I mean, it was on a Wednesday or something like that, and it wasn't like packed to the gills, but it was one of supposedly it was one of the bigger shows they had done on that tour. So we were honored to be on the bill, you know, to be the only local support on that bill, and to go out there and absolutely crush it. And it was killer, and like all the bands were killer. Diamond Plate was on that bill also. They were phenomenal. And Landmine Marathon blew me out of the water. So good. But the other two bands, absolutely killer. Great people all around. It was a killer night. It was a killer night all around. Yeah.
Vixen says she wanted to go to that show but couldn't make it. It sucks to be you, don't it, Vixen? Oh, she said Lich King was on the bill as well.
Who was that?
Lich King?
Not at that show, no. Lich King did not play the New York City show. I believe they played the Upstate show the night before.
Oh, okay. That may have been the show she was talking about. Because I think she was living in upstate New York at the time.
Right, yeah, I think the guys in Tainted Entertainment might have put that show on. We're great friends of ours. We love those guys. So if they're listening, hi, guys.
Now, I know one of our mutual friends, Mike Vod.
Yes.
Y'all know the Vod.
Yes.
Million Fs.
Oh, F for days.
You know, he's always. I'm surprised he's not in here today in the chat because I sent him a request. But you know, he's always asking about you guys, wanting you guys to go and play the Chance. That's going to be fairly soon. Go ahead.
That is actually going to happen fairly soon.
Oh, right on.
We just confirmed on May 2nd that we will be playing the Chance with Soilwork.
Ooh.
So,
that's going to be a killer show, man.
Yeah, it's Soilwork, Jeff Loomis, who used to be in Nevermore.
Oh, yes.
A band called Blackguard, who we actually played with when we opened for Hypocrisy. A band called The Browning, which is a band out of, I think, California, who did a bunch of touring with Fear Factory recently. And a band called The Wretched. And then also the other local support that we know of are our good friends in March to Victory. And it's great to finally play again with them. I think the only time we ever played with them was in New York City years and years ago. So it'll be nice to finally be on the bill with March to Victory again and all those other bands. It's going to be a killer night, man. You know, so that's our first big confirmed show so far of 2013, so you got it here first.
So when is the new disc going to drop?
We're in the process of just finishing up the last minute art issues that we had. The artwork is done, but the inner artwork and the artwork for the outside and everything kind of got a little messy with the printers and stuff. So we're just fixing a couple things, and then it's off the press. And then it's, I think, like 10 days after we approve it.
Oh, okay.
So I only imagine it'll be like maybe a month. It should be out another month and a week.
Now, are you guys going to be going on tour?
We're tossing around some ideas, about our work schedules are a little weird. So wherever we can pull maybe a weekend together here and there to do some shows. Obviously, if this record really picks up interest, that's going to have to really get tossed around even more. But we'd like to get a lot more road legs than we've had in the past. So we're definitely looking to hit the road. We just don't have any solid plans as of today.
Well, I know I'll speak for Deanna, Vixen, myself, and Buffy. Hopefully you guys will bring it to New Orleans.
We would love that. That's actually one of the 7 places I think that we must play. I know our bass player, Brett, actually has friends in the area. So it's actually been tossed around because of that. So it's quite possible. I know that we've definitely discussed it, and hitting that area, maybe like Louisiana, somewhere Texas, somewhere Florida too.
Now,
all possibilities.
there's
a lot of fan base that we've seen that has really been interested. California too is a big one. And believe it or not, we have a shit ton of fans all over Europe that are pretty much begging us to figure out a way to get out there. So everything is on the table at this point. It's just a matter of fitting all the pieces of the puzzle to make it work for us, because, a lot of people don't understand not being signed or even being signed. It's such an expense,
It is. And case in point on that, Cannibal Corpse, the biggest death metal act, next to Death Clock, of course, but the biggest death metal act from back in the day. They released their 20-year DVD about, 5 years ago, and they had just quit their day jobs.
Right.
After 20 years, and it just shows you how the scene is, the music scene in general is nowadays. It's so hard for bands to much less make a living playing music and even getting ahead, and you got to come out of pocket for so much expense. Of course, you got gas, food, lodging, and everything else involved with it, with bringing a show on the road.
Right.
And people really don't realize that without major, backing.
Right, and it's especially when you have nothing. When you're just a local band going around trying to do this, it's even harder. Especially, if you have one snag in the line anywhere on the road, you're done. You're done. Your truck blows up, oh well. Your gear gets lost, oh well. It's not like you can call, hi ESP, we lost our guitars in Memphis. We're going to, wherever. Can you hook us up? No problem. I'll have 4 guitars there in 24 hours. We don't have that luxury, so it's a big, huge expense. But it's being we're not young anymore. We're all in our 30s. Me late 30s, and I have a family, and you can't overspend either because you don't want to put your family in a hole.
Exactly. So, you still got the bills at home to take care of.
Right. So you got to kind of balance it. And like I said, this year we're hoping to be our biggest year. It's 18 years, and we're trying to make it a special thing, and got to make it to 20. Well, we'll probably make it past 20 because we're just that kind of stubborn. But yeah, we're actually looking to do outside of our general, we'll call it the general area, not just New York, but, like Jersey, PA, Massachusetts, Connecticut kind of thing. Of course, those markets we want to hit, but we want to go, and hit maybe those Carolinas and, like you said, Louisianas and Texas, and even move more west. My parents moved to Arizona maybe 7 years ago, and my dad's always telling me that he drives by some of these places and there's always bands playing out there, and we should come out there. So
yeah, because New Mexico, Albuquerque has a great scene. They have a place there called the Compound, which has all kind of people going to it. They bring major acts in, and Phoenix, same thing. Holbrook, Arizona, Tucson. I mean, they have great scenes there. Vegas is starting to come back. I've got I told you the wife and I moved to, after Katrina, and my wife's from Vegas, and we lived out there for a few years, and we got involved in the scene there, and got a good friend of mine named Shannon. He plays drums for Avenger of Blood. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're a thrash band, great thrash band. I'm sorry, say again?
Yeah, they're an excellent band.
And he told me the scene's starting to pop back up there. So, that there's a lot of places to play. It's just a matter of getting to those places.
Right.
Now, I wanted to drop this on you. This summer, we're going to be putting on the Brutiful Metal Fest. And if you're in the area, we would love for you guys to come play.
Send us some information, and we'll see what we can do. We'll try to make that happen.
All right, Vixen, you got homework to do. Oh, I think she just passed out.
Well, pass.
She just fainted. Yes, you do. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Let's take us a little break. I didn't realize how late it was getting. And we'll let everybody hear some of the new, not yet released, Korotory.
Sounds killer.
All right, we've got, I guess we'll play 3. Well, let's go with, I've got Hell's Gate, Spineless, Conquering the Swine. We'll do that for now, then I've got a few more after that. We'll play that later on, though. But here we go there, guys and gals, and whatever's in between. Here's the new Korotory. Prepare yourself, bitches. Okay, metalheads, we are back, and you were just listening to some new Korotory. Those of you out in chat room, drop a line, let me know what you thought about it. And let's see, get my program back up here. We listened to Hell's Gate, Spineless, and Conquering the Swine. And it may be lagging a little bit. And I'll tell you guys, the new stuff, oh yes. Yes, I would say it's your best music to date.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh man, you're very welcome. Like I said, I'm a fan of the last 2 albums you did. I got to listen to the earlier stuff. But what I've heard on this, like I said, when we get off air, the neighbors are going to be they're going to love Korotory as well, whether they like it or not. Now, how was the writing process? Is there like one person that brings everything together, or do you all work together on songs?
This one we all work together, I think. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, our bass player Brett had a bunch of material that he had written. So, we went through it, and we picked some stuff out of it. Now, like Conquering the Swine was one of those songs. We have another song on the record called Ophidia. That was another song of his. Where, he had written a solo album in Essen. And he said, well, listen to this, and if you think any of this would fit what we do, let me know. Because Brett's of material written, so we kind of went through his stuff and picked some stuff out and kind of pieced some of his riffs together and made some songs. And he had written some other riffs while we were doing the record, and we put some of that together to make some songs like Humanization was one, Spineless is one, Absolute Zero, that's another one. And then our brand newest guitar player, Matt, who's been in the band for like almost a year, we brought him in and we wanted him to show some of his flavor on the record. The song Rise, which is the last song on the record, he added a melody to the chorus. He pretty much wrote the chorus and a lot of the melody. A lot of the harmonies on the record are Matt showing some of his influence. He's really into, he's a thrash guy, but he's also very into a lot of that melodic death metal stuff and a lot of that melodic stuff. And he brings a real huge element to this band that's going to help us in that expanding thing that I was talking about earlier. So we're going to keep, we want to make sure we keep, with the formula, but expand on it. So that's kind of how this record went. Lyrically, this was the first record I kind of completely took over, only because I had just a lot of things in my head that I just felt I needed to get out of it. So that's just kind of how it worked on this record. I mean, in the past, it's usually a pretty 50-50 split on me and Ray writing lyrics, but this was the first one I kind of just ran with a little bit because I just had so much in my head. So that's, but everything we kind of pieced together as a unit. We would kind of take one song at a time and record it, and then kind of go back and fix what we thought needed to be upgraded, and before we moved on to the next song. So it was a different process, and it was a killer process. It was actually also the first album where we ever recorded with a click track, and I hate it. You weren't going to do it, but I did it. So yeah, it was a whole new experience all the way around, and I got to tell you, it was the best by far. And the response we are getting for this record has been the most intense yet. So I guess something went right. So for once.
Well, I tell you, as a musician myself, I've recorded with a click track and without a click track, and I'm with you. I cannot stand using a click track because it throws me off. As funny as it sounds, you keep hearing that tick, 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 and I'm used to using a metronome because I'm a guitar player,
Right.
And when I sit down and practice with scales and things like that, I'll put the metronome on. But it's different, at least from my perspective, when you're sitting down and you're trying to record with a click. I don't know what it is, but it just throws me off. I've got to hear the natural drums,
Right. And that's kind of always been my thing. I've kind of always set the pace, and everyone's kind of followed that pace. This was the first time where the pace was kind of set for me, and I kind of had to just go from there. And I mean, more than anything, it was a production thing. So I understood it, and I didn't fight it as hard as I normally would, because I wanted to make this, the process of this record as easy as possible. Especially because we knew going into it that Brett, our bass player, would be doing all the engineering and all the producing of the record. So I wanted to make it as easy as possible on him, so it wasn't triple the work that he would have to do later. So it worked out perfectly. I can't complain at all. I cannot complain at all.
I tell you, I said this while the songs were playing, that is some of the best production I've heard on an album in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, he put a lot of time into that record, and like I told you before, we were sound snuts. I mean, we sat there and we got guitar tones and drum tones and really like dialed in things we wanted. It wasn't just like, let's hit a button and whatever comes up, comes up. It was like, what do we want this to sound like? We said we wanted it to be the heaviest record we've done. We wanted the bass to really stand out, because the bass kind of always in our music kind of just been there. It's never really had a presence, and especially now we feel that presence needs to be there. to make sure all the melodies, the guitar for those sounded clean and you know, not too processed, you know, and had a bit of, you know, a bit of effect on it, but more natural. And, you know, again, going back to the drums, I mean, you know, being as picky as you can be as, you know, snare sounds and kick drum sounds. And most, if you listen to most albums, 75 to 80% of all drum sounds are within a few notes of identical, you know, because everyone's triggering or, you know, sampling something.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, we did use samples on this record. You know, I didn't trigger anything. We did use drum samples on our computer or whatever, but, you know, it's mixed with a live natural sound, and I think that's how we got the tone for this record, you know. So, I think as far as the three records go, across the board, this is by far our favorite. You know, not just, I mean, material, I mean, sound and clarity and loudness and production value and the EQ of everything. I think this is the first time where we can actually sit back and go, yeah, that's exactly how we want it.
Well, I was telling you, you know, while we were listening, that one thing I judge production by, because you know, I was telling you I'm gonna do a CD review on this for you guys. When I do a CD review, I listen to everything, you know, the music, and I'll listen to the album 3 times when I do one. And first time is, you know, for musicality and if I get into it, and then the second time will be, you know, for the production, and the third time is just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But one thing I judge on production is how well I can hear the bass player. A lot of times bass players get lost in the mix. You know, maybe someone didn't mix it properly, or the mastering, the frequencies weren't separated correctly or something, you know. But, I mean, you can hear the bass in that so clear. And everything had good clarity. You know, everything stood out on its own. Nothing jumbled together. And, oh yes, I'm going to play the hell out this album.
We appreciate that, man. That's awesome.
We got to get you guys down south now so we can do a catch y'all on a live show, because I'm ready to go and get some bruises and, you know, broken teeth in a pit now.
Yeah, man. Like I said, if we can work that out in June or whatever, brother, we will be there.
Right on. We're gonna see what we can do about that. Now, did the bass player do the mastering on the album also?
Yes, he did everything.
Wow.
Yeah, he put a lot of time into that thing, and I agonize with him, and I give him all the credit in the world. He's a beast. He is an absolute beast. I mean, and I have to say this so everyone hears this. I mean, he has a 1-year-old daughter, and between having his job that he works for Korg, so you know he's actually getting ready now to leave for NAMM, I think on Friday, which is going to be 2 weeks of his life that he wishes he could have back. But you know, between all this crap he gets from there and having a brand new baby daughter, he did such a phenomenal job on this record. I mean, I could not have paid anybody to do a better job on this record, and I would not want anybody else to do it on this record. I mean, it is so fitting that it came out the way it did because of the work he put into it, and I'm honored for the work that he did on this record. It is top notch, and I'm still floored that he actually put as much time into it as he did.
Well, whenever you get a chance to tell Brett, you tell him Brutiful Metal Radio gives him 2 horns high on the album.
We will.
Because, I mean, that is, like I said, it's one of the best sounding albums, you know, that I've heard in years. Really.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. And he's gonna appreciate that also.
I mean, the music, oh my God, I mean, the music is just sick. I can't wait to hear the whole thing. And you gals and guys out there in listener land, I think what I'll do after the interview is I will play the whole thing in its entirety and let you guys check it out.
That'd be awesome. That would rule.
Hell yeah, might as well give everybody a taste of what's going to be out in about, you said about a month?
Maybe probably sooner, but we'll see. Anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks.
And please, when it drops, let us know, because we will push the hell out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Copies. Yeah, we'll send some copies down there for you, too.
Oh, awesome, awesome. I know, you made Deanna faint earlier with the Metal Fest statement. Now she's probably passed out again. Well, she hadn't heard it yet because we're having a little bit of lag on to the chat room, but I know she's probably about to pass out right now. I haven't heard a squeal from the other room yet. Oh, she didn't hear. Okay, Vix. The guys from Korotory said that they're going to send us a few copies when it drops. Oh, the TV is too loud. I understand. Believe me. Oh, there it goes. Fuck yeah. She's got as many exclamation points as Mike Vaught has F's. Vaught, he's a great guy, you know. He's all about the underground. He really loves thrash, and he's been a internet friend of mine since like 2005, I believe.
Yeah.
Back in the old MySpace days. Now, where, if you had one chance to play one show, what stage would that be on?
Stage.
Yeah, if you had a chance to play one stage in the whole world.
The whole world?
In the whole world, where would that one stage be, and who would you want to share the stage with?
That's a loaded question.
It is.
There aren't many bands left that we haven't played with, that we want to. Right, always wanted. I mean, we've opened for Death and Nevermore and Iced Earth and Exodus and Level and Creation and Hypocrisy and Nevermore. I mean, there's been a lot of. Testament still, Overkill still. Obviously, it'll never happen, but the biggest one would be Pantera. But I think when you say in the entire world, the one stage, and I'm gonna just pinpoint it to Europe. And the main reason I'm gonna say it is because it's a festival and it's gigantic, and it's not just one band. It's legendary. It's legendary. And it's hundreds of bands, and that would probably be the Wacken Festival.
Oh yes.
That would probably be the one, and probably with, the bands that we haven't played with, and if we could have one headliner for that whole thing, I'd have to say, as cheesy as it may be, it would have to be the Black Sabbath. And why? Because they are the kings of everything.
Oh yeah, they're the Godfathers.
Yeah. So, just to say, I think if it was Black Sabbath headlining and Metallica co-headlining, like a co-headline, like on that night of Wacken, that would be the pinnacle for us. Because as much as people will knock Metallica or whatever, they invented thrash metal. It's there. So they can do whatever they want at this point in their 50s. I can't knock them for it. They made that magnetic, and it was as close as you're going to get to what they used to be, and I'll take it. But you cannot knock that history. Kill 'Em All will always be Kill 'Em All, regardless of what Metallica is currently doing. So, they're huge influence on them. Huge. And obviously Black Sabbath invented what we all love today. So, I guess Wacken with whatever bands we still have to play with, plus Metallica and Black Sabbath.
I was going to ask you what your thoughts were on Metallica, and you kind of got it.
I mean, look, you could flag them for the Reload album and the Load album, but they just got. I mean, what are you supposed to do after you make a record that sells 15 million copies? You're not going to go and release And Justice for All Part 2, or you're not going to make Master of Puppets. You're going to take all that commercial success that you had and you're going to move forward. If the Black Album would have failed, I could see them possibly wanting to go back. But it didn't. So you can't knock somebody for creating something, becoming huge, making a record that made them even huger, and then moving forward. Did I like Load and Reload? No. But you can't knock complete bullshit. You can't knock the legacy, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people want to do that, but I noticed that with a lot of bands. People want to just knock bands who suddenly become hot, or Pantera's one of those bands. Like I said, they're probably my all-time favorite band ever, and I have the glam records, and I listen to them, and I appreciate them for what they are, and people will knock them for days. But the greatest part of the whole thing is when people throw the Exhorder thing at them. The Exhorder themselves will say, Pantera fucking rules. Shut up.
Now, my take on Metallica is this. I was a huge fan of the early stuff. I got hold of Kill 'Em All when it was an import.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And bought it on vinyl. And I got it right before Ride the Lightning came out.
Oh, yeah.
And, I was one of these underground, thrasher, kids back in the day. And I bought into everything they were saying, back in the day. And when the Black Album came out, I was let down. Just because of, they went with a different producer, Rob Rock. And he kind of, in my eyes, he was kind of what threw the monkey wrench in the system for them. And like I said, this is just my opinion.
Right.
But, he slowed them down. And, I think if he would have allowed Lars to be Lars on the Black Album, it would have sounded more Metallica than what it did. And then with the commercial success of that, they went and did Load and Reload. And, of course, Saint Anger and Death Magnetic. And I listened to Death Magnetic, and I just could not get into it. I mean, I know they were trying to go back to their roots and everything, and I applaud them for that. But I don't know. To me, I heard old riffs that they've already used on other albums on Death Magnetic. And yeah, it has nods to the old school where they were, but it didn't sound like a progression. The last progression, in my eyes, or in my ears actually, that I heard was And Justice for All.
Right.
And like I said, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, everyone's got their opinion to it. And like I said, I thought the Reload album and Load album were terrible. Saint Anger was garbage. I appreciated the Death Magnetic record. Justice will always be my favorite album. People think I'm insane, but it is the absolute best album they've ever made. That's my opinion. But again, they're that band with that legacy. I mean, they invented the thrash thing, and when they did the flip on everybody, this is how big of a band they are. When they did the Black Album, they actually took the entire thrash scene with them. Every one of those bands made a Black Album, or they tried to.
Yeah, you're right.
And none of them can say otherwise. Every one of them, and everyone who wants to say, no, Slayer didn't. Slayer made a new metal record, everybody. Yes, they did. And they admit it. Terry King will be the first one to look you dead in the eye and say, yes, we made a bad record. We're sorry. But you have to, Exodus made a Black Album. Whoever thought that was a great album? Still not knocking it. Well, say that to Gary Holt's face. He'll smack you, I guarantee it. But you know what? Anthrax did it. Overkill did it. Anthrax, they're the biggest culprits, right? Well, Anthrax will follow the lead on anybody. We all know that. But Fat Bandit. And that's all I'm saying, is that's their legacy, that everyone will try to follow everything they do. It was Pantera, though, that made everyone kind of jump off that bandwagon and get heavy again. So I'll leave it at that.
Again, I have to agree with you on that 100% because Metallica, still to this day, are leaders. Everyone tries. Megadeth. They had their Black Album. with
Megadeth made 3 or 4 in a row.
Oh yeah, Euthanasia, Cryptic Writings. Yeah.
Testament made the Ritual. Overkill did I Hear Black.
Yep.
I guess. Right? Yeah. That's Angel Streams for the organization. The organization, that's or whatever. Right.
Now, with what you said about Wacken, though, if I had to be able to play only one stage ever, that would be my pick. Would be Wacken.
Yeah,
that'd be one. The European crowds are so rabid for metal, even today. The metal scene is so alive in Europe. It's crazy.
It's absolutely insane. My biggest example with that will always be Manowar. Manowar will come to the United States and play to 1,500 people. They go to Europe and they play soccer stadiums for 3 nights. That's insanity. That's insanity. No headline over Metallica. Right. Well, I don't know about Metallica. No one's going to headline over Metallica or Maiden, but it's close. So, the European market, depending on where you go, is loyal as hell. And we've been told that. And that's why a lot of, like I was telling you before, there's been a lot of interest in us going to Europe. And it's one of those things that's on the table if the right deals can be made and we don't lose too much money. So, we definitely, and if we ever could find a way to get on a bill at Wacken, trust me, it would be the quickest yes I ever said in my life.
Would it be great sharing a stage with like Carcass? That would be awesome.
Oh, it just happens to be that tonight you guys are going to be sharing the stage with At the Gates and Carcass.
Oh, yes.
Really? Wow. Oh, by the way, Exodus is on the bill too. Oh, really? Excellent. You can't do something like that, And the offshoot that maybe one of the new wave of British heavy metal bands, like an Angel Witch or a Diamond Head, is going to be on the bill too. Mm-hmm. Absolutely great.
And Merciful Fate.
Yeah. Well, oh, by the way, did you know that Malevolent Creation is going to be on the bill, or pick any random death metal band at this point. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Ray, pick one. Pick anyone. Obituary, there you go. They're on the bill too. You never know. It's so, and it's the way they blend it too. From all the bills I've read for over the years, perfect. It's a perfect bill. You should get a little bit of everything. With all the subgenres that we have in metal, you get a little bit of everything. So yeah, I think that's why it would be definitely the perfect bill.
Now, I wanted to ask you, talking about, how everything's been so subgenred. Something I've noticed, especially with the younger bands, it's starting to go more back to how it used to be, where everything was just metal. Some of these, younger underground bands, because they pick in like a little bit of death, a little bit of black metal, a little bit of straight metal, and it's getting away from the subgenres in the music. Because you're seeing more bands come out. Well, they call it a different subgenre. Oh, we're black and death, or we're death and black.
Right.
But under all that, it's becoming more like the old school. Because if you listen to old school metal, you may have a death metal sounding song on an album, then you may have a sludge sounding song, and you may have a black metal sounding song, and then you have a straight metal sounding song.
Right.
Well, now these bands are starting to, get like that. Have you noticed that?
A little bit. I've noticed it a little bit. There's a lot of cross subgenre in a lot of the scene now. I've noticed, like you're saying. It's not nowadays because, you know, I can say, yeah, we're a metal band. And you're like, oh, cool. There's some kids, they kind of want to know what kind of metal. You kind of got like, oh, we're like a thrashy, dance, groovy. Like, oh, so you mean you're like Testament, you know, Cannibal Corpse, Pantera? Yeah. How's that? Oh, okay. You know, you can't just say you're metal because that might mean you're, you know, too not heavy for them or something. I don't know, but you know, it's metal. I don't care if it's black metal or death metal or grindcore or whatever. It's metal. We're all metal. Odyssey and Marduk are metal. It doesn't matter that they wear face paint and sweet. It doesn't matter. They're a metal band.
That's the thing that always gets me about these kids that have to have a name for everything. You know, because at the end of every subgenre name is metal.
Right. Exactly.
We're all metal.
That's it. And it's funny because when we started, you couldn't say metal. Yeah, you couldn't say it. You know, we took metal. Metal's dead. You can't say that. I mean, we'd be at shows and I would say in between songs, yeah, we're a metal band, and you know, we could literally hear people snicker and laugh, like, oh, they just said metal. That's that thing from the 80s, you know. But I guess in the new millennium, metal became acceptable again, kind of, and so, you know, safe to say the word again. But, to make the point, over the course of 18 years, we've never stopped. Never. Other bands did. Plenty of bands did. Never, ever, never, ever stopped calling ourselves a metal band. Or a heavy metal band, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
And we wave that flag higher, still to this day, I think, than any other band. Definitely. Because we're proud of, A, who we are, and B, our genre, and C, the fans of the genre. And that'll never change. You know, tomorrow, you know, Latin hip-hop, jazz funk, polka could be the greatest thing in the world, and that's all the world's listening to. But we'll still be here with that flag going, man, we're metal. Dig it. So.
Jazz, funk, metalcore?
Jazz funk, polka, metalcore, rap.
Polka core.
Oh yeah, you know, we're black and death dance crunk core.
With a, you know, Latin Caribbean feel.
Oh man, you can get almost silly with it, you know, with the labeling.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, let me ask you guys. Growing up, what was your favorite cartoon character?
You first. I got mine. I got a few. I don't know. Should I go first? You go first. Okay. Hopefully it's not the same as mine. Okay. So, I'm a huge Looney Tunes guy. I'm gonna go huge. In my opinion, the greatest cartoon character of all time, Slowpoke Rodriguez. Done. You can't beat Slowpoke Rodriguez. He was a cousin of Speedy Gonzalez, and all he wanted him to do was get the cheese. And the Tabasco sauce. And the Tabasco sauce. Can't beat that. So Slowpoke Rodriguez for the win.
Right on.
I think I'll go with Yosemite Sam because, well, he got pissed and yelled a lot. And it was funny. Foghorn Leghorn too. Let's go with Foghorn.
You know, I'm a big Looney Tunes fan, just like you guys. Grew up on it, and my favorite of all time is Bugs Bunny because he was just such the dick.
Oh yeah.
And he was so nonchalant about it.
Oh yeah.
You know, he'd fuck you over and be like, "Yeah, what's up, Doc? What you gonna do?"
Right. I think he was the only Looney Tunes character who never got fucked over.
That's right.
Right. That's a true story. Or him and the Roadrunner. But
Yeah, Roadrunner never got it either.
I know. They don't make cartoons like that anymore.
No, they don't. No, they got this SpongeBob SquarePants shit out now.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. New cartoons, man. I don't know. The last new cartoon I really liked was Johnny Bravo.
That was great. Actually, yeah, that is a great one.
That dude was just so off kilter. It wasn't even funny. You know what I mean? That hoo ha hoo. You know that whole. Yeah. Who's that pretty man in the mirror? Oh, it's me. I love that. You know, but
The Jack guy who couldn't get chicks. Love it.
chicks dig my pecs. Well, I tell you, let's take some questions from the chat room. Let's see what they have to ask. So, chat room, what you got to say? Old cartoons are too violent. Oh, the hell you say. Oh, Brutiful Vixen wants to know, who do you love?
Lamp. I love Lamp.
All right, any other questions? Uh-oh. Dirty South Moss is asking, do you prefer meth or coke? And he's laughing. He's laughing about it, though.
Pepsi.
There you go. Pepsi for a new generation.
Right.
I figured Deanna would have quite a few questions. She usually does.
Oh, come on now. Don't be shy.
I don't know what she's going to ask, so I guess there you go. I knew that one was coming. Vixen wants to know, boxers, briefs, or commando?
Go. I gotta admit, commando a lot, but if not, boxers. Yeah, whatever. Can't believe you just said that to people. You proud of yourself? Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah.
Well, you know, you got to let the boys breathe sometimes.
Yeah.
The boys got to be free.
Right. Tell them, Ray, in the park. Tell them.
Okay, Dirty South is asking, which is better, East or West Coast?
Let's go West Coast. Yeah, let's go West. Just because we live on the East, so let's give the West Coast some love.
There you go. Vixen's asking, if you could write a song with any other metal band, who would it be?
Any other metal band? Collaboration track, ideal.
Say again?
Let's see. I might want to see like.
Yeah, she's saying collaboration.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. I would go Testament. Testament. Yeah, let's go with Testament.
Good answer. Any more questions from the chat room? Oh, Buddy Cat, yeah, begging you to come to the West Coast. She likes to answer about the West Coast.
Awesome. We're Brian. It's on the table.
Now, let me ask you guys, Darren, what kind of gear do you use?
I have two different drum kits that I kind of go back and forth with. My one kit is it's from a company called Sunlight. I don't think it exists anymore. It's a 7-piece kit. I only play 5 pieces of it. Currently, I used to play the whole thing with as many cymbals as I could, but I've shrunk down because I've gotten smarter over the years and realized that you don't really need to bring that much gear with you when you play a show. So it's a 5-piece kit, 22-inch kick, 12, 13 up top, 16 on the ground, 14-inch by 6.5 pound of snare. I use Tamil Iron Cobra pedals. I've used them for well over 20 years. They're the greatest pedals ever made. Anyone who wants to argue with me can go to hell because they're the greatest pedals ever made. That's it. Done. I'm sponsored by a new company called Imperial Cymbals. They're phenomenal cymbals. We use them on the new record. crap out of their cymbals. I've beaten the shit out of every cymbal they told me you can't break. I've broken it. So these ones actually haven't broken yet, which is weird.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they're hand hammered in Turkey, and you have to wait for them to get hammered and made, and it's not like they just have random stuff there. They send your order out, and they come back from. They're located in Texas, but their factory where they get them from are in Turkey. So yeah, it's phenomenal cymbals. So that's my cymbal thing. I've used Evans heads for the better part of 10 years now. I've used Vicksburg sticks for the entire 26 years I've been a drummer, and I love them. So that's pretty much me on my gear. I don't really use electronics. There's some talk of possibly integrating some sample pads, because we have a lot of samples on the new record and a lot of bass drops and stuff. So I might incorporate some electronics moving forward, but currently it's just that. I also have a 5-piece Gretsch drum kit, which is a John Bonham style kit with a 26-inch kick, 13-inch tom up, 16-18 floor toms. It's a beautiful, beautiful kit. It's just really hard to lug that thing around because the bass drum, like I said, is 26.
Yeah, it's huge.
So it's hard to maneuver in areas, but both kits are amazing, and they do the job. And you really don't need a $24,000 drum kit to sound amazing. So.
Okay, Buffy had a question. She wanted to know which is better, digital or physical sales.
Physical sales are better, because with digital, you only get a fraction, and it's a small fraction, because you can do the way the download thing works, especially with iTunes, is, you can buy, our new album's 9 songs. Well, if there's 4 songs on the record you don't like, you can buy the 5. So we're missing the sales on those 4 other songs. If you buy a physical copy of our CD, we're getting the whole lot of money. So physical sales, in my opinion, are better. For us, for the consumer, it's going to probably be the opposite, because you'll save money. But I think we usually work it out where you save money anyway, because we're not too greedy. We're not greedy whores. Yeah, we're not. We're whores, but we're not greedy about it. But we're whores in a good way. Yeah, we're good whores. So good whores. Yeah. So yeah, for us, physical sales. For the consumer, digital sales. But then again, I don't know. Maybe the consumer would rather have the whole package. We're hoping. So.
Okay, Buffy has another question. She wanted to know if you can have any old muscle car, which one would you pick?
Chevelle.
A man after my own heart.
Yeah. Done. Either that or a Barracuda, but I'm going to go Chevelle. Done.
My dream car has always been like a 70 or 71 Chevelle with the LS7 454.
Yep, that's it. That's the one. Take it.
Black, white stripes, leather interior. Yes, like you said, done.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'll be right over.
Now, Dirty South had a question. He said he noticed you guys use a lot of inverted crosses. What is your stance on religion?
We're not religious at all. Much as our good friends in Slayer and our good friends before them, Venom, it's a symbol, and apparently it sells records. Basically, that's it. We're not satanic. We're not Christian. We're not anything. We're a heavy metal band, just doing heavy metal things. It looks cool, and that's all we care about. That's it. If you want to take it that way, that, it's pro-Satan and it makes you go gaga, please feel free.
Nice.
We're not going to sit here and give you a whole speech on how, we went to the crossroads and the devil said, please put this cross on your record and I will make you huge. It didn't happen. I went to White Castle. It would be a nice offer, though. That was it. Yeah, it just didn't happen. It just, we're metal. What are we supposed to put on the record? Trees?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but that's why I bought Shout at the Devil back in the day, because it had the big pentagram on it.
There you go.
You know, I've got a back.
That's why I bought, you know, black metal from Venom. That covers, you know, your shit when you're 9 or 10 years old. That's excellent. You know, look at that first Black Sabbath record with that witchy-looking woman on the front. Come on, man. It's metal. It's all metal. I'm not, you know, I mean, we're not tough guys, so I'm not going to put like a bunch of dudes, you know, punching each other in the nuts. So, look, skulls and blood and goat heads and crosses and pentagrams is just the way it is. So, metal for life. That's how it looks.
Well, you know, metal is rebellious, against the grain, and to be against the grain in our society, which is Christian-based, you know, the use of inverted crosses and pentagrams and things like that should be natural. I think.
You know, that's how I look at it. So, I mean, if it, look, in my opinion, and if this bothers anyone, I'm sorry, but if we put an upside-down cross on a shirt or a record, and somewhere in the Bible Belt someone gets a hold of that and really makes a shitstorm about it, that is now promotion that I didn't have to worry about.
Exactly.
So go ahead and, I mean, let's all be honest. Marilyn Manson's terrible, but he became this monster and huge because of his imagery. It worked. So sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make a couple dollars and make things happen. You know, you don't want to be. You know, we want to do it in a metal way. You know, so you know, skulls and blood and upside down crosses and stuff like that. Yeah, whatever. You know, whatever.
Buddy Cat just took the words right out of my mouth. Bad press, she says, equals good advertisement. And that's true. There's no such thing as bad press. You're getting press.
Right.
You know, and someone's taking notice, and, you know, the more notoriety you get, the more someone's going to want to listen to you. I mean, look what happened with the PMRC and putting the sticker, you know, the parental advisory sticker on the albums. It made you want to buy that album.
Absolutely.
So thanks to the PMRC for showing us which ones to buy.
Exactly. I mean, that's all the records I bought when I was a kid. Like, oh, that's got a sticker on it? Ma, can you buy me that record right there? No, it's cool. You can buy me that one right there. You know? I think the first, 20 CDs I got as a kid all had stickers on them. Like, there were none that, weren't, the clean version. Right? They had to have, it was like a big deal. They had to have a sticker on them. You know? Because there had to be something on there I had to hear.
Exactly.
You know? It turned out that they were just really killer records. You know? So I'm glad for that, because maybe I would have missed out on that if they didn't have those stickers on them.
You know, that's one thing that kept me away from the Striper albums. They didn't have the sticker.
No, I don't do it.
Now, Vixen's asking, what do you guys think about the gun ban issue?
You're directing that to me, aren't you? Alright, the gun ban thing, well, I think it's stupid. I think people are just missing the point. I mean, common sense. That, you know, you ban guns, only dickheads are going to have them. You know?
You know, and I have to agree with you on that, because, you know, we were talking about this earlier. Living here in the South, I mean, I grew up hunting, you know, it's just part of the culture down here. And if they take all the decent people's guns away, you know, only the assholes are going to have it. You're going to see home invasions on the rise, people getting murdered. I mean, the crooks, if they want to have a weapon, they don't go the legal route to get it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, we need, you know, all the politicians now are just, you know, well, we need to have gun control. Okay, you're going to have gun control, so, you know, gangsters are going to say, oh, damn, we can't buy guns now. Come on.
The funny thing about it, too, is they're pointing out on assault weapons. Now, these assault weapons, they're not truly an assault weapon. I own an AK-47. I have it here. You know, but here's the thing. They're semi-automatic.
Yeah.
It's not an assault rifle. It looks like one, but if I pull the trigger, it don't send 30 rounds down range. It sends one. You know, if you got all these gangbangers out here that are getting fully auto weapons. Stop that shit.
Get them gun control or not, that's the point.
And on top of that, I mean, if Washington really wants to control guns, they need to control the ones that they're selling to the drug kingpins across the border down in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? I think it's all smoke and mirrors myself to get people's attention off of like Benghazi and you know these weapons that are coming out of America going into these gun owners' hand or these drug kingpin hands down in South America. I think that's what it is. But that's my take on it. I just don't agree with this president. But again, that's me.
More guns, less violence, in my opinion.
I think what they should do, especially with these schools, they should allow teachers to own guns or have guns on campus. And if some you know quack gets on campus and starts shooting people up, there you go. You got your weapon right there. Pull out your 40, your 45, whatever you got, and start blowing holes in him.
Definitely.
You know, that's my take on it. I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. I believe everyone should be able to own them. But I do agree with one aspect of what they're saying. I think a more extensive background check does need to happen.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That should go without saying.
But like this kid, you know, that shot everybody up in Newtown. You know, it wasn't his guns; it was his mother's guns.
Right.
You know, he killed his mom, stole her guns, and then went and shot people up. I mean, how are you going to control that? You know, you can't.
No, there's nothing you could have done, except if there were, you said, people on campus with guns that would have stopped it. That would have stopped it.
I know it's a touchy subject with a lot of people right now, and I don't see any way in a free society. You're not going to stop terrorists from getting into the country. Not 100%. You're not going to stop people from getting guns, especially crooks, you know, criminals. They're going to get them.
Yeah, all you can do is be prepared.
Exactly. And, you know, I don't know. It's just the way this country's headed right now, it really scares the shit out of me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it does sometimes. I try not to think about it too much.
But, yeah, Buddy Cat, I agree with you. Automatics only should belong to the military, police, and like SWAT teams and, you know, things of that nature.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because you're not going to go and hunt deer with a fully automatic weapon.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to bring any kind of meat home if you do that.
No.
Okay, Dirty South asked a question, and this is a pretty good one. Do you like Cannibal Corpse better with Chris Barnes or Corpse Grinder?
You first. That's a tough one. I like Chris. No, you know what? I like Corpse Grinder better. But my favorite album by them is The Bleeding. So I don't know how to answer that.
You know, I don't know. It's like saying if you like Black Sabbath better with Ozzy or Dio. I mean, they both have great albums, you know. One's the original, and I don't know. Myself, I have to. Even though I like the early stuff with Chris Barnes, I do like Horse Grinder. Because
Yeah, I go with neck and neck for the win. I mean, look, Barnes will always be a legend, and the material he did with them will always be legendary. But that band got better with Corpse Grinder, and I think his vocal, I'm sorry, is better.
Well, he's a better. He's just better in every way. So a better front man and a better singer.
I'm going with Corpse Grinder for the win.
I mean, that scream he pulls, Chris Barnes can't do that.
That Devoured by Vermin scream is phenomenal.
I remember watching the DVD, the 20-year DVD, and he was talking on there about every time he does that scream, it gives him a headache.
Yeah.
But
That happen at times.
I tell you, I mean, it is so huge when he does it.
Oh yeah, no, it's one of the best things you can ever witness live. It's phenomenal. On top of his giant neck.
Yeah, right.
That thing is just, it's its own planet.
His neck's got nothing but bigger. I mean, it's like head and then shoulders. There's no neck.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. It's an impressive thing.
Okay, Dirty's also asking, if Axl Rose and Vince Neil had actually gotten in a boxing match, who would you root for?
Vince Neil.
Oh yeah, Vince Neil for sure.
Yeah, I'm not an Axl fan at all. So.
I'm not either, and I remember when Vince Neil invited him to the fight. Vince Neil grew up in L.A. A blonde hair, he wearing blonde hair in a Mexican neighborhood. How many fights do you think he got in?
Yeah, I'm gonna say a lot.
Axl's from the Midwest. How many fights do you think he got in? I mean, it's, you go cow tipping and cows don't fight back. Oh man. Well, guys, Deanna's been doing pretty good about putting your links out there for everybody.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Oh, no problem at all. Of course, you can find Korotory on Facebook. You guys have a Reverb Nation.
Yes. With free downloads.
You say again?
We have free downloads on there, so feel free to download all our steal it. Get ahead. Have fun.
There you go. She's throwing them out again. Yep, Facebook.com/Korotory Official. ReverbNation.com/Korotory. Come on, throw some more up. There you go. Twitter.com/Korotory Metal. She's slowing down on me, guys. Oh, YouTube.com. Say again?
YouTube.com/official-Korotory.
Oh, Korotory.tumblr.com.
Yep.
And she threw something up, plus.google.com something.
Yeah.
Oh, stereokiller.com/Korotory666.
That's us.
So go and download free demos. Get your Korotory metal on. Crank it up. Make your neighbors love them. Get yourself Whiplash. Now, let me get the player back ready. Because I'm going to go ahead and we're going to play the entirety of the album. As soon as this thing wants to cooperate with me. And I want to thank you guys for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Yes, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who listened. We appreciate
Oh yeah, thank all.
who took the time to tune in and listen.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. You guys, I couldn't do this show without everyone, out there in the listener land. I really appreciate y'all very much.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Okay. So what we have is we've got Absolute Zero, Probing the Nether, Ophidia, Dehumanization, Sanctified, and the final track is Rise. So we got this metalhead. Stick around. I've got a lot more metal coming after that. And thank you all for tuning in. This is the Bullshit with Bob show. You've been talking to Darren and Ray from Korotory right here on Brutiful Metal Radio. So here you go, bitches. Crank it up.